Psalms 83.
Psalms 83.
Yeah. Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praise to the Most High God, Yahweh, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of Israel. Giving all praises in the name of his son, Yahweh. We are the battle axes of the Most High. We are coming to you with another Sunday evening class to start your week off right, because this is the first day of the week, not the last day of the week. This is the first day of the week. So we're going to come to you with another class. This class is entitled The Rebirth of a Nation, because a lot of our people don't understand what the Israelites are doing. Like we going out on the street corners because they only getting a partial view. Well, we are in the process of rebuilding a nation according to the Most High God, because we don't understand that we are not a nation of people in this country due to slavery, because we don't know what our heritage is. We don't know what our nationality is. Right. The so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans of Seminole and Chicano descent, we are the children of the Most High God. So we have been destroyed mentally. So we are now in the process, due to the Most High God putting his spirit on us, rebuilding the nation, the rebirth of a nation. So, and also we follow the blueprint that our forefathers set for us in the past. That's why he say, give me Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 7. We always got to go back to our history. See, the people in this country don't want us to go back in our history. They want us to think that our history starts at slavery, 1619 or 1492, according to them. But that's not true.
32 and 7?
Yes, sir. Let's see what the Lord told us to do.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 7. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee. Thy elders, and they will tell thee.
So the Lord said for us to ask our fathers. Ask thy father. Our father is the Most High God, Yahweh. Our fathers, our earthly fathers, wasn't able to give us this understanding of the Bible. They may have gave us earthly understanding, but they didn't give us the understanding that we need to know about this Bible, because they didn't know. He said, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy fathers, many generations. Now, how can we do that as so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans if we don't even know who we are? If we are under somebody else's history that they push, we can't do that. But we know who we are now. We are the Israelites, and our history is right here in the Bible. So he tells us to ask thy father. So we ask the Most High to give us that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And he has bestowed that upon us. And then he said, and he will shew thee thy elders, and they will tell thee. Our elders is Moses, Joshua, Zechariah, Isaiah, all the prophets in the Bible, Paul, Peter, Christ. Those are elders. So all we got to do is go back to the words of the Bible and look at that history in which they left us, and we will understand what we need to do once again in this present time. Because all we're doing is repeating the cycle.
That's right. We're
repeating the cycle where the Lord has to punish us. We have to get back right with him, and he'll take us back in. But this is the last captivity that we're going to be in. So this is the last time. We got to buckle down if we want to get the kingdom. So give me that Psalms 83, and I'm going to start at First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 1, because we have to get the history out of the Bible from our elders. And we're going to see how did our elders go about rebuilding the nation.
Verse 1.
Hold on, I'm going to read this one. Book of First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 1. In those days arose Mattathiah, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Joabim, from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modim. And he had 5 sons: Joanan, called Cadus, Simon, called Dasi, Judas, who was called Maccabeus, Eleazar, called Avarim, and Jonathan, whose surname was Aphas. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, Woe is me! Wherefore I was born to see this misery of my people, and of the holy city, and to dwell there, when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of strangers. Her temple has become as a man without glory. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets, her young men with the sword of the enemy. What nation has not had a part in her kingdom and gotten her spoils? All her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman she has become a bond slave. So this is telling, in the time of the Maccabees, our holy city was blasphemed, was polluted, our people was out of order, just like now. And the Maccabees seen this. And they felt the misery of our people the same way that we do right now. Because our people is going through the same stuff. We in the hand of the enemy. We have taken on their customs. Because this has been, it is a curse from the Most High. Because we constantly want to go against the Most High. So, but we as the Most High servants, as his prophets, he has put the spirit on us, like the Maccabees, to stand up for our people, to get our people back in order. So that's what we're going to do. So let's get the understanding when it says, what nation has not had a part in her kingdom? Like right now, in our neighborhoods, the blacks and Hispanics neighborhoods, the Native Americans neighborhood, who runs the shops? Who owns the businesses? Who has everything? Who do we have to go to get our stuff? Because we don't hardly own nothing. Whatever we got to get it from another nation. We don't own factories. We don't own manufacturing companies. Whatever we get, we have to get it from another nation and pay whatever they want us to pay. And not only that, they put their stuff in our neighborhoods. This building that we're in right now is from another nation. How come we're not renting and buying from our own people?
Right, and then also in them stores that are in the neighborhoods, they don't eat pork. They don't eat none of that stuff.
Yeah.
And the stuff they sell in there, nothing but pork.
That's it. And they gonna sell it to us.
Sell it to us.
Because they know it's an abomination to us. If they won't eat it, but they'll sell it to you, that's like something that you won't eat, but you'll give it to your dog. They give it to us. Because that's what they think about us. Because we can't go into their neighborhoods and take communities or their cities and pollute anything of theirs, because they're not even gonna let us. We can't even own businesses in their neighborhoods.
Oh.
That show you how this thing works. Can we go to a Chinese community and open up a shop and these people buy from us?
Oh.
They're not gonna do that. So our best bet is to come together and buy from each other, like Black Wall Street, like we did in the times of Black Wall Street. And we know they don't like that, because they buying Black Wall Street. Read that for me, Al.
83 and
Start at verse 2.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that have thee have lifted up the head.
And they that hate thee has lifted up the head, O Lord. Read on.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
What did they say, y'all?
Let us cut them off from being a nation.
Let them cut us off from being a nation. That is where we stand right now. There's one reason why we don't know. Like in the world, us brothers don't know that we brothers, because they cut us off from being a nation. They said, oh, you a Mexican. That's a nigga. Y'all two different people. That ain't what God said. Because they cut us off from being a nation, because they know if they divide the house can't stand. But when we stand together, they can't do nothing about us.
But that's what they did. They cut us off, made us to go against each other.
Exactly. They cut us off from being a nation. Read on.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. If it wasn't for the Most High God, they would have completed that thing. It ain't talking about the land of Israel. It's talking about the people of Israel, the Israelites. That word was not being uttered until the Most High poured his spirit back on us to stand up. as men and take back our nationality. That's what he did. The rebirth of a nation. That's how we able to do it now. Before I came into the truth, I did not know who I was. Did you?
No.
That's because they had cut us off from being a nation. They gave us false names like Mexicans and Negroes.
That's what they told me.
Bywords. That's right. Bywords. Read on out.
For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee.
Who is confederate against us, huh? Let's see the nations.
The tabernacles of Edom,
The so-called white man.
and the Ishmaelites
The Arabs.
of Moab, and the
Moab. Moab,
Moab.
Is the Chinese. Read on.
and the
Hagarenes.
Hagarenes,
Those are Africans. Read on.
Jabal,
Africans.
and Ammon,
Japanese.
and Amalek,
The fake Jew.
the Philistines,
Some more Africans.
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
Those are
Tyre.
more Africans. So he's showing us who was confederate against us. And when you break it down, that's most of the people in the world. Because the rest of them going to fall up under the categories with these. Because the Arabs is one of the biggest population in the world. The Chinese, one of the biggest population in the world. The Edomites, they just Edomite. They just the devil that the Bible speaks of. And they the ringleader of getting everybody to do these things. The Moab couldn't come in our neighborhoods and have donut shops and beauty supplies and washaterias if the so-called white man didn't let them in there. The Arab man couldn't do that.
Yeah, because that's all you see.
That's right.
That's all you see, the washaterias, donut shops.
Now how they got a monopoly on that? Arabs got a monopoly on corner stores. You can't even find a corner store in a white neighborhood.
And then how are they able to come get loans to open up these businesses?
Yeah.
But then when we try, oh no, we can't do it. There's no way we can do it.
Because they said they have consorted together with one consent. They are confederate against us. So we got so many people fighting against us to keep us from being how the Most High had us to be. But we have to fight back. And that's what we're finna go into. Let me see. Get Numbers, chapter 25 and verse 1. I'm going to read this. The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 2 and verse 12. And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory, is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it. Now, I'm going to go on the sidetrack real quick. These people, these Christians, want to think that the Gentiles that's in the New Testament that the Bible is talking about the other nations. Do they not realize that the whole time that it's been the Gentiles who've been trying to make the Israelites go against the Bible? The whole time. The whole time they've been trying to entice us to go against God. But yet God gonna say, oh yeah, come on Gentiles, the rest of you heathens, come on with the Lord. All they do is go against God.
And when we be out there in them highways and byways, when the people come up, that's all they bring up is Gentiles.
That's it. But I know y'all don't know that the Gentiles is the one that's trying to make the Israelites profane the Most High. Come on, man, that's not logical. Neither is that biblical. So it say, verse 13, to what end, therefore, shall we live any longer? Then Mattathias and his son rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourn very sore. Because these men, just like us, love their people. They love their God. So it hurt us. That's why we doing this. We don't go out here in the highways and byways for nothing. We go out there because the Most High, we love our people. And it's a commandment from the Most High. We're going to go into that too.
That's right.
And in the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came into the city of Modin to make them sacrifice. And when many of Israel came unto them, Mattathias also and his sons came together. Then answered the king's officers and said to Mattathias on his wives, thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in this city, and strengthened his sons and brothers. Now therefore come thou first, and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done. Yea, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain in Jerusalem. So shalt thou and thy house be in the number of the king's friends, and thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards. See, they tried to get the most honorable man to go against his God. It doesn't matter if the heathen do that. They don't have the same criteria and standards that we are held at as Israelites. That's why it don't matter if the heathen's doing it. That's like you tell your kids, don't go out there messing with them kids. Stay over in your yard. And then you see them kids over there doing something, and your kids be like, well, the kids down the street was doing it. What you gonna do to them? You gonna beat their butt. Because you don't care what the kids down the street is doing. They parents ain't got the same standards as you. And that's what the Most High said. I don't care what the heathens is doing. Envy thou not the oppressor. But see, they kept enticing us. Like they do not. They enticing us. But we have to fight against that thing, man. We have to stand strong in the law. Matter of fact, we got to establish the law. So it say, not only that, they was going to try to pay them silver and gold and many rewards to do it. So get some of this earth to give up your soul to the Most High. See how the heathens work? Some silver and gold. He was already an honorable man, and I'm pretty sure he had some money if he was able to strengthen his brothers and his people. But we're going to give you some silver and gold and rewards. See how they entice you?
That's what they do with the athletes, actors.
That's how they do. That's how they move. Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him, and fall away every one from his religion of their fathers, and give consent to his commandments, yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. That's what we saying, people. We as Israelites, we gonna stand in the covenant of our fathers. We gonna walk in that covenant, man. We ain't finna stray off just because the other nations is doing that. What kind of men will we be? Once we find out who we supposed to be, it's one thing we didn't know. When we know our heritage, that we are a royal nation, a nation of priests, come on, man, kings and priests, and we gonna give that up to do what the heathens do? That's foolish. So we standing like Mattathias. Yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. Verse 21, God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances. God forbid that we do that, man. If we do that, who gonna stand up for the Most High? Who gonna stand up for him? Like he said, verse 22, we would not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion, either on the right hand or on the left. Now when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar which was at Moed. A coon. And watch what happened to it, according to the king's commandment. Which thing when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear to shoot his anger according to judgment. He couldn't even hold himself back, man, because he saw this coon. Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar. That was it. Mattathias was through. He had to handle that thing, man, because this is blasphemy that's going on for a Jew, an Israelite, to do these things. Also, and that's, you people better be glad, our people that's Christians that want to talk about grace, you better be glad we're under grace, because we'll be doing the same thing to keep God's law. Grace is that you ain't getting a punishment for going against the Most High God. That's what your grace is. That we're in another person's control to where we can't implement our laws like we need to. That's what grace is for these people that want to be Christians. Verse 24, which thing when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal. All right, verse 25, also the king's commissioner, who compelled men to sacrifice, he killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down. So he ain't just killed him, he killed the king's officer that was compelling people to do it. So that devil that came up, compelling our people to do these things, he got put to death too. He killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down. Thus dealt he zealously for the law of God, like as Phineas did unto Zambri, the son of Shalom. See, the Lord, that's an example right there. You got their numbers, because we're going to show you what Phineas did. He was the grandson of Aaron.
Numbers what?
The book of Numbers, chapter 25 and verse 9. See, our people had started intermingling, and that was going against the law. So let's see how Phineas dealt with that thing, because that's a problem in Israel too. It's hard for our people to get back on track when you intermingling and intermarrying with these people, because you're not going to listen to the law of the Most High God. You're not going to want to follow the laws that God set for us, because you already break them. Read that out, 1 through 9.
This is the book of Numbers, chapter 25 and verse 9. And those that died in the plague were 24,000. And
start at verse 1. I'm sorry.
And 1? Chapter 25. And Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab.
See, we wanted to go mix with the Chinese women, like we do today. We still doing that. We was committing whoredom against the Most High God. Read on.
And they called the people unto the sacrifices of their gods. And the people did eat and bow down to their gods. And Israel joined himself unto Baal Peor. Peor. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel.
Because no matter what the so-called white man say today, the Most High God does not want none of the people intermingling. He made 18 nations, and he made 18 nations for a reason. So to keep that race going, you have to stay dealing with your own people. That's just common sense. Read on up.
And the Lord said unto Moses, take all the heads of the people and hang them up before the Lord against the sun.
Woo, man. Most High ain't playing no games, man. He said take the heads of all the people and hang them up. Hang them up. Ain't playing no games. So, and that's when we were right after getting the laws, right? Just imagine when Christ come back. He's not going to be playing no games, man. We got to get this thing right now. Keep reading now.
That the fierce anger of the Lord may be turned away from Israel. And Moses said unto the judges of Israel, slay ye every one his men that were joined unto Baal Peor. And behold, one of the children of Israel came and brought unto his brethren a Midianish woman in the sight of Moses, and in the sight of all congregation of the children of Israel, who were weeping before the door of the tabernacle of the congregation.
Now this brother had lost his mind. After Moses already gave the word to start slaying for being with these other nations, this brother gonna bring a Midianitish woman in the sight of Moses and the congregation, like flaunting her around. Let's see what happened to her. Read on.
And when Phineas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, saw it, he rose up from among the congregation and took a javelin in his hand. And he went after the man of Israel into the tent, and thrust both of them through the man of Israel, and the woman through her belly. So the plague was stayed from the children of Israel.
Verse 9.
And those that died in the plague were 24,000.
So we had got a plague put on us because of this, and we wanted to stop that plague. So we had to do what we had to do. And that brother gonna flaunt that woman in front of Moses. And Phineas went and took that javelin and thrust both of them through. Trying to get the nation right, man. They not playing no games. And that sounds harsh, but that is the things that happen in this world. That happens. Especially when you get down to the nitty gritty. These people over here just being so commercialized that when they get to that real, they, oh, that's mean. No, that's life. That is life, man. You just better be on the right side of what's going on with the Most High. Because he ain't playing no game. I'm finna read this out of the book of Ezra, chapter 9 and verse 1. Because that was during the time of Moses. This is during the time of Ezra, where we kept doing the same things. So if it's a pattern of what we do. We love to go after the strange women and the strange men of the other nations. We doing it again today. And who's compelling us to do that? With their commercials and their movies and their TV shows. They're compelling you to do it. At first, they were calling they people nigger lovers for getting with a brother or sister. Now they're compelling you to get with them. Let's see what our God compels us to do. The book of Ezra, chapter 9, verse 1. Now when these things were done, the princes came to me saying, the people of Israel and the priests and the Levites have not separated themselves from the people of the land. Now mind you, this is us going back into our land. This is us going back to be a nation of people. And our people knew we wasn't supposed to be doing this. That's the difference between then and now. They knew that they ain't had no business doing it. Our people doing it not knowing who they are. But when you tell them, they ain't finna let that white woman go. They ain't finna let that white boy go or whatever they got. That Chinese woman, whatever. It's the hardest thing in the world for them. That's what makes them love the other nations. A gift destroy the heart. They don't care about the oppression of their people because they got a so-called what they think is a gift. But really, you are holding yourself out to the other nations.
But then it's sad too, because the elders, they should know this. And they should tell the children not to do that.
Well, they listened to Martin Luther King that said, we need to hold hands, and these little black boys, little white girls need to hold hands, go to school together and all that. That sounds good. But that goes against the Bible. And he was a false prophet for that. That's why the Most High dealt with him. And that's what the Bible says about that dream of dreams. The Most High is not playing no games.
That's right.
So it say, have not separated themselves from the people of the land, doing according to their abominations, even of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Egyptians, and the Amorites. Well, we took some of everybody, didn't we? Verse 2, for they have taken of their daughters for themselves and for their sons, so that the holy seed have mingled themselves with people of those lands. Yea, the hand of the princes and rulers have been chief in the trespass. So our princes and rulers went and got people of the other nations, man, and we got with all of them. We got with all of them. Give me the book of Deuteronomy chapter 7 verse 3. And I'm going to read this out of the first book of Ezra, chapter 9 verse 6. Out of the Apocrypha. First Ezra, chapter 9 and verse 6. See, we are holy seed. We're not regular. We're a holy seed. That's what the Lord said. That's why it's an abomination and whoredom that we mix with these other nations, because you mixing a holy seed. How can you be holy if you mixing with something that's less than? You're diluting the product. That's why he said don't mix with these other nations. We're giving away what's good and profitable to us to another nation. The book of First Ezra, chapter 9 and verse 6. And all the multitude sat trembling in the broad court of the temple because of the present foul weather. So Ezra rose and said to them, ye have transgressed the law in marrying strange wives, thereby to increase the sins of Israel. See, us marrying them strange wives, See, they thinking they getting pleasure for themselves, but really you increasing the sins in Israel when you doing that. So when the so-called Mexican dude go get with a white woman, he increasing the sins of Israel. When the so-called black dude get with a Chinese woman, he increasing the sins of Israel. They think that they just living life. I'm just living life. I'm just doing my thing. No, you increasing the sins of Israel. That's what you doing. You transgressing the law of marrying strange wives, thereby to increase the sins of Israel. And now, by confessing, give glory unto the Lord God of our fathers, and do his will, and separate yourselves from the heathen of the land and from the strange women. That is a commandment. So that's why we have to go out here to teach our people these things, to separate from the heathen, man.
That's right.
Give me that law out of Deuteronomy 7:3. Because that's a law. That's what Ezra was speaking on. They was breaking the law.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 3. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. For they will turn away thy son from following me.
What they gonna do, Out?
They will turn away thy son from following me. That they may serve other gods.
That they may do what?
That they may serve other gods.
This is 100% true. When we out here teaching this Bible, and we see an interracial couple, and we try to let them know, matter of fact, we don't even have to say nothing to them. When they see us, they turn around and go away. Quick. They go the opposite direction. Because they know we're going to call out their sin. If you secure in what you believe in, if you really secure in believing that that black woman should be with that white man, you will walk through there like you was the rightest thing in the world.
That's right.
But when you turn around and you go the other way and take the long way out, or like what happened last week, the brother was with the white girl and he acted like he wanted to do something. He let her hand go and took off like 10 yards ahead of her. But you secure in what you doing.
Yeah, he did.
You know it ain't right. But they trying to fulfill their own lust. But in doing so, you added sin to sin.
And she was like, why?
Why is he leaving me? Why is he leaving me? Because he know it ain't right.
That's right.
He know it ain't right. All right? Let's get 2 Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 13. Because our people is constantly. No, I'm going 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 11. Because as well as them enticing us, we have evil and wicked people in Israel that wants to be with the other nations. How can you build a nation if your people is cooned out? You can't do nothing with no coon. No nation. And this ain't just for Israel. This is for any nation. I'm not mad at nobody who calls somebody of their nation a traitor if they not down with their people. That's any nation. If you're a Chinese and the Chinese stepping out on them and going to get with an African, you a traitor. You a traitor. So it applies to us first and foremost, and to any other nation, because the Most High made it the way He made it for a reason. But this is what we got people doing. Read that out. 1 Maccabees chapter 1 verse, what I say, 11?
11.
Yeah, read that.
1 Maccabees chapter 1 verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are around about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
Give me 2 Maccabees chapter 4 verse 13. So we got wicked men out of Israel that want to get with the nations. That's what we have right now. We have a lot of coons in Israel, man, that want to be with the other nations. They don't want to be with their people.
14.
Chapter 4 verse 13. Yeah.
13.
Let's get another example of that.
This is the book of 2 Maccabees chapter 4 verse 13. Now such was the height of Greek fashions and increases of heathenish manners through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch, and no high priest.
He was no high priest. Read on.
That the priests had no courage to serve any more at their altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hasten to the partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise, after the game of disgust called them forth.
So our priests ain't have no courage to serve the Lord no more. They wasn't doing the sacrifices. They wasn't keeping the Sabbaths. They was neglecting their duties in the temple. They rather go watch discus. It's like, I ain't gonna do the Sabbath. I'm gonna go watch the XFL. I'm gonna go watch the football. We ain't finna worry about that. We gonna go watch the football. They neglected their office. They ain't have the courage no more. They want to do what the Greeks is doing. It's like, oh, no, the pastors. I promise you, I bet you we all have been in a church where the pastor cut service short because the Cowboy game was coming on. That service was getting cut short that day because the Cowboy game was coming on. When it comes to the Lord's work, it don't matter if the Cowboys playing or not. We gonna do what we gotta do.
That's right.
It's been all types of events that happen on Saturday. I'm gonna miss all of them because we gonna serve the Lord. But we got people who will trim their ways so that they can do their worldly things. They gonna trim their ways. Read on up.
15. Not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all.
Yeah, they don't want to sit by the honors of their fathers by keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. They want to do what the Greeks do. Our people don't want to do what the law say do like our fathers did. They want to do what the Christians do. Because the Christian way is an easier way out, but it's going to lead to destruction. Because narrow is the way to get into the kingdom, is what these people fail to realize. It's not the way to destruction is broad, but narrow is the way into the kingdom.
That's right.
You have to walk it the way that the Most High told us to walk it. You can't do it your own way, or you establishing your own righteousness. You can't do it the way the white man said, because he has nothing to do with this book. So just because the white man say we all gonna make it to the kingdom does not mean nothing. Because we have to do what the Most High said. If the Most High said that we all gonna make it to the kingdom, then that's what we'll be preaching. And I bet you'll have some people that said, nah, he ain't say that, just to go against the Most High. I bet you if the Most High said everybody can get into the kingdom, the world will be saying, nah, just the white folks can get into the kingdom. But since the Bible says only the Israelites can get into the kingdom, the whole world saying, no, we all can get into it. Well, it don't matter. It only matters what the Most High say.
That's right.
Read on up.
16.
Matter of fact, that's all. No. Drop the 17.
17. For it is not a light thing to do wickedly against the laws of God, but the time following shall declare these things. Now when the game...
No, that's all I want right there. It's not a light thing to do wickedly against the laws of God. That's what I wanted. It's not a light thing to do wickedly. These people think that I can go to the hottest house. They gonna cut. I'm at church with one of the best pastors. He gonna cut it short so you can make it to the Cowboy game, so you don't fulfill your heavenly duties, and you gonna get to watch the Cowboy game. Boy, these people is wicked as hell, man. Wicked.
That's right.
Nope. Don't nothing is the Most High over everything, man. Give me Proverbs 3 and 31. Because we have to remember this in this walk. We have to remember this, what the Most High said. Look at Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 31.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 31. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways.
The Lord said, envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. We should not envy nothing that these heathens is doing, man, because like we pointed out earlier, the heathens don't do nothing but try to compel the Israelites to break the law, to go against the law. That's why the Lord is telling us, don't envy the oppressor. They end is destruction, man. If we do what the Lord told us to do, our reward is is the kingdom. So we shouldn't envy nothing that they doing. Oh, the heathens, they partying on Saturday. They going to a concert on the SABBATH. Oh man, they having a festival. I would like to go there. Don't envy none of that. This is worldly stuff, man. We got our own festivals and parties that we have. It's called the New Moon. It's called the Sabbath, the Feast of Dedication, the Passover, the Feast of Tabernacle, the Feast of Purim. We got our own stuff. We don't have to be involved with their stuff. And what about this? How come it's not a problem with nobody that the fake Jews stay to themselves? They don't mix with everybody. They keep their stuff to themselves. They spend their money amongst themselves. They live amongst themselves. They doing what the Bible says to do. What we supposed to be doing.
Got their own community.
Got their own community. How come we can't find them doing that? We tell our people to do that. I don't have to gather with my people. I don't have to do that. I can do it on my own. They not doing it on their own. They not. They move together as a unit. One man. But us, we over here, an arm over here, a leg over here, the brain over here. We don't want to work together. But when we do what the Most High told us to do, we going to work together. So one of the subjects I'm touching in this is the intermingling and the intermarrying. Give me the book of Sirach. Give me the book of Sirach, chapter 13 and verse 15. And I'm going to read and write this down like before you get that. Sirach 26 and 19. I'm going to read that. Because that's a big problem that's going on right now. And we have to counteract that thing. Because our people think that race isn't in the Bible. They think that intermingling with somebody is a good thing. Oh, we're going to have some little pretty babies with good hair. All right, you get that bad mix with that bad hair, and you get that crazy, because a lot of mixed people is crazy. They have identity crisis, for real, because they struggling with who they are. They don't understand about you are what your father is. They don't even know what an Israelite is. Especially they white and black, they really struggling, because that's, if it was meant for us to mix, then why would a white and black person people make a baby, and then that baby come out mixed? And a lot of times, if it's a black dude and a white woman, the white woman family racist. Know what I'm saying? And the black dude family ain't got no money. So when they go back and forth, the black side talking about it, the white side hating, and they in a state of confusion.
Yeah, the white side feel like they got an upper hand.
Yeah, and then they looking at that mixed child like it ain't nothing. Because they understand about their daughter should have been with a white dude. When you get to the bottom of it, Chinese parents understand that their daughter need to be with a Chinese dude to continue their race on. We the ones don't understand that. It is a problem when you do that. So let's read what the Bible says. I'm going to read this one first. The book of Sirach, chapter 26 and verse 19. My son, keep the flower of thine age sound, and give not thine strength to a stranger. Meaning, don't go run around, first of all, just having promiscuous sex. But don't go get with a woman of a strange nation. Keep the flower of thine age sound, and give not thine strength to a stranger. When thou hast gotten a fruitful possession through all the field, sow it with thine own seed. When you have found a woman of your own nation, sow it with thine own seed. Trusting in the goodness of thy stock. See, the only way you can trust in the goodness of your stock is if you know who you are. See, we can trust in the goodness of our stock because we know that we are the Israelites that the Bible speaks of. We know that we come from royalty. So we can trust in that stock. So thy race, which thou leavest, shall be magnified, having the confidence of their good descent. so thy race that we leave of, so our generations that we leave. But they think race is not in the Bible. The Most High made 18 different races. So to keep that race going, we got to sow it, sow with our own seed and a sister or a brother that's of our own nation. Read that out, Sirach chapter 13 and verse 15.
15. Every beast loveth his like.
What did it say?
Every beast loveth his like.
Every beast loveth its own kind. You're not going to go see a hyena go get with a lion. A hyena is going to get with another hyena. A lion is going to go get with another lion. Hell, you don't even see cheetahs getting with lions, even though they all feline. Because they going to go with their like. Read on.
And every man loveth his neighbor.
Uh-huh.
All flesh consorted according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like.
A man, every flesh consorted with his own kind. Mean human with human, right? And then a man cleave to his what?
To his like.
To his like. So a Hebrew Israelite man should cleave to a Hebrew Israelite woman.
That's right.
An Edomite man should cleave to an Edomite woman. A Moabite should cleave to a Moabite. This is what the Bible says. And that's talking in general about everybody. You have some more on that?
17.
Mm-hmm.
What fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb? So the sinner with the godly, what agreement is there between the hyena and a dog?
What is there? Well, it's like you got the sinner and the godly, right? When we keep these laws, statutes, commandments, you got the godly and then you got the sinner. What do we have to do with the sinners when we trying to come to righteousness? We shouldn't have nothing to do with that. So if you should really get somebody who keeping these laws, statutes, commandments in Israel too. That's what the whole goal is. So not only do you get with another Israelite, you want to get with an Israelite that's keeping these laws, statutes, commandments when you're in the truth. So it even breaks it down even further of who we really need to be dealing with. Yeah, she's an Israelite, but is she in the truth? And I'm talking to the brothers that ain't got no mate when you going out there to try to find one. Is she interested in being in the truth? Because if you go get a woman that's of the world and you in the truth, y'all gonna be like this. So we got to keep these things in mind. You got to get with your like. You got to get with what's like you, or it's gonna be a struggle. So not only do we need to get with women that's like us in the truth, you darn sure need to be with a woman that's like you of your own nation.
That's right.
Let's go to the book of 1 Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 27. Let me finish that out.
Verse 27.
Mm-hmm.
First Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 27. Chapter 2, verse 27. And Mattathias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, Whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me.
He says, so whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow us. That's what we saying today. Who is zealous of the law? Who loves the Most High? Who gonna stand up for him against the evildoers? Come and follow us as the Hebrew Israelites. Read on up.
So he and his son fled into the mountains and left all that ever they had in the city.
So they got away from everybody else. This what y'all want to be doing? We ain't doing that over here. We finna go serve the Lord. And that's what we got to do. Even though we in the cities with everybody else, we have to still separate ourselves. We got to function in this thing because we ain't got enough money to just pack up and leave. So we got to function in the world. But as Israelites, as an Israelite community, we have to stick together. We have to work together and mentally separate ourselves from these people. And when we deal with one another, we have to deal with like-minded brothers and sisters. That's the best way to work. That's how we make progress. If I'm dealing with a Muslim, if my partner a Muslim, how much progress are we gonna make together? But if my partner's Israelites, how much progress are we gonna make together? Because we got a foundation to stand on to do that.
That's right.
Let me see here. I'm gonna read this, the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 2, and verse 42. Book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 2, and verse 42. No, that ain't right. That ain't what I want. Give me the book of 1 Kings, chapter 8, and verse 46.
1 Kings.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to read this right
Chapter
quick.
what? 1 Kings.
Chapter 8 and verse 46. And I'm going to read this right here. The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 4 and verse... Oh, that ain't what I'm going to do. I'll get there ready for me.
So 46, right?
Yes. I think the page ran away from me. Had to. Alright, I got it. I found it. It's chapter 3. I'm going to read this right quick. The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 3, and verse 42. Now when Judas and his brethren saw the miseries were multiplied, and that the forces did encamp themselves in their borders, for they knew how the king had given commandment to destroy the people and utterly abolish them, they said one to another, let us restore the decayed estate of our people, and let us fight for our people and the sanctuary. Then was the congregation gathered together, that they might be ready for battle, and that they might pray and ask mercy and compassion. That's what we doing right now, Israel. All the brothers that's raising up for Israel, that's spreading the truth of the Most High God, we are standing up to restore the decayed estate of our people. So we saying, let us fight for our people. And a lot of people who don't understand this spiritual fight think they don't understand what we out here doing. That's why I'm explaining this today. If you're not an Israelite and you don't know what the Israelites is out there doing, we out here trying to restore the decayed estate of our people. Because our people have been mentally destroyed, man. Through slavery and through the enticements of these heathens to turn us away from our God. But luckily the Most High left our instructions for us to do. To come back to Him.
That's right.
And we're going to follow those instructions. Read that out.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 8, verse 46. If they sin against thee, for there is no man that sinneth not, and thou be angry with them, and deliver them to the enemy, so that they carry them away captives unto the land of the enemy, far or near.
Read on.
Yet if they shall bethink themselves,
If they should do what out?
bethink themselves,
If they should remember who they are. That's how we start the rebirth of a nation. We have to remember who we are. We have to bethink ourselves. So therefore we have to have someone to come and show us who we are.
that's right,
And give us evidence of who we are. Because they're not going to teach you who you are in this country. They taught you as an African American, a Negro, a Hispanic, a Mexican, whatever, an Indian. Those are bywords placed on us. We got to break that cycle, man. So we standing up to restore the decayed estate of our people. That's what this whole thing is about. The rebirth of a nation. Now I'm going to read this over here. The book of Leviticus, chapter 26 and verse 40. He's giving us instructions on what we need to do, Israel. Look at the book of Leviticus, chapter 26 and verse 40. Read that for me. I get there. Because we got to follow the instructions that the Most High has left for us. He did not leave us stuck out. We lost our heritage, but he gave us a way to get it back. Matter of fact, read Jeremiah 17 and 4 for me out.
Jeremiah what?
17 and 4. Read that for me out.
Leviticus 26 and 40.
Yeah.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 26 and verse 40. If they shall confess their iniquity.
If we should do what?
Confess their iniquity.
We have to confess our sins, Israel. We have to admit that we have been committing sins and iniquities against the Most High God. Read on.
And the iniquity of their fathers.
And the iniquities of our forefathers and our fathers. Read on.
With their trespass, which they trespassed against me. And that they also have walked contrary unto me.
That's what we're doing, Israel. We're walking contrary. We're walking opposite of the Most High God. And we walk in the way of the world as a nation of people. Don't think because you got a big house and a nice car that that's the end all be all. That's not. That means nothing. That means you love the world. We have to love our God more than anything. Read on that.
And that I also have walked contrary unto them.
And he said he don't walk contrary to us. Because that's how we are. You don't mess with me, I ain't messing with you. That's what the Most High says. I don't blame him. Read on.
And have brought them into the land of their enemies.
Mm-hmm.
If then their uncircumcised hearts be humbled.
If our wicked hearts be humbled, our non-law-keeping hearts be humbled, we have to humble ourselves, Israel. Read on.
And they then accept of the punishment of their iniquity.
And we have to accept the slavery and the punishments that he put on us, the curses that he promised to us for our sins. We have to accept that thing. We accept it. We accept the Most High. Put that belt on us to get us right. Read on.
Then will I remember my covenant.
Then will he do what up?
Then will I remember my covenant with Jacob, and also my covenant with Isaac, and also my covenant with Abraham. Will I remember, and I will remember the land.
So he said he'll remember the promises, the covenants that he made with our forefathers if we do these things that he instructed us to do to come back to him. Read on that.
The land, verse 43, the land also shall be left of them, and shall enjoy her Sabbaths, while she lie desolate without them, and they shall accept of the punishment of their iniquity. Because they despise my judgments, and because their soul abhorred my statutes. Verse 44, and yet for all that, when they be in the land of their enemies, I will not cast them away.
He said he wasn't casting Israel away as a people. He still had mercy on us, even though we went against him and abhorred his judgments, despised his judgments, and our souls abhorred his statutes. He still ain't cast us away. He still keep giving us a chance to come back to him, just like today. Read on.
Neither will I abhor them, to destroy them utterly, and to break my covenant with them. For I am the Lord thy God.
Because the Lord is not a man that he should lie. He promised these things to us. And he said that he would not go against his promises that he made with his children, man.
That's right.
So we got faith in the Most High. We have to believe that. Because the book of Numbers chapter 23 and verse 19 say, God is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. Has he said, and shall he not do it? Or has he spoken, and shall he not make it good? Come on, man. The Most High promise, he gonna deliver.
That's right.
We have to deliver our part. Read on up.
Verse 45. But I will remember, Salaka, but I will for their sakes remember the covenant of their ancestors, whom I brought forth out of the land of Egypt in the sight of the heathen, that I might be their God. I am the Lord. Verse 46. These are the statutes and judgments and laws which the Lord made between him and the children of Israel in Mount Sinai by the hand of Moses.
So he gave us instructions on what we need to do to get back in his good graces. We're going to do those things. He did not leave us in the dark. So we have to get back to our heritage, man, because we lost that. Read that Jeremiah 17 and 4 for me. Give me Sirach 17 and 11. Because we are, as a people, we do not understand that we lost our heritage. We don't even know how we lost it. But we're going to get it out the Bible today. Read that out.
This is the book of Jeremiah. Chapter 17, verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever.
Which shall burn for how long, God?
Forever.
Until we come back and do what he told us to do to get back right with him. We lost our heritage, but he given us a chance to get it back. Because we have a royal heritage. Read that out. Sirach chapter 17 and verse 11.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 17 and verse 11. Beside this, he gave them knowledge.
Exodus 19 and 5.
And the law of life for a heritage.
He gave us what up?
Beside this, he gave them knowledge.
He gave us the knowledge.
And the law of life for a heritage.
And the law of life for an heritage. The law of life is the laws, statutes, and commandments, statutes, and ordinances of the Most High God. That is our heritage as an Israelite. If we kindled that fire against him, he took that away from us. But we clearly see that he has given it back to us, man.
That's right.
He has given us our heritage back. So we have to represent that thing. We can't keep going around being something that we're not and letting people take our identity and saying that they're something that they're not. We have to take that thing back. We got to take the kingdom, is what the Lord said we're going to do. Read that for me.
This is the book of Exodus.
Give me Deuteronomy. No.
Chapter 19,
First
verse
Jude
5.
2 and 9.
Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then
2
ye...
and 9. 2 and 9.
2 and 9?
Oh, go. You're right. Go ahead.
Let me start over. The books of Exodus, chapter 19, verse 5. Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people.
No, equal to. Are you going to be equal to everybody out? Above all people.
Yes, above all people. For all the earth is mine.
So the Lord said, if we obey his voice indeed and keep his covenant, then we shall be a peculiar treasure above unto me above all people. He has given us a stipulation though. See, our people run around and say, I'm a king, I'm a queen, all this different stuff, but you ain't following no rules of being that, or even following the origins of how you are that. Read on up.
And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests.
We're supposed to be a kingdom of priests. Read on.
And a holy nation.
We are supposed to be a holy nation. So when we doing a rebirth of a nation, if we were just a regular old nation, promise you we wouldn't have to do a rebirth. Because they wouldn't never bother us.
That's right.
Look at the Nigerians over there. You think they care about the Nigerians and what they doing over there as a heritage? You think they care about what the Chinese is doing as a heritage? No, because it doesn't affect them being in rulership. But us doing our heritage affects them being in rulership. Because our heritage says we are above all the people on the face of the earth. If we keep his covenants and obey his voice indeed, we should be a kingdom of priests and holy nation. Read on.
These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel.
And these the words like Moses spoken to us back in the day is that we speaking to our people today. You are not just no anybody. We are a kingdom of priests, a holy nation. We a separate nation from everybody else.
That's right.
Read that out.
The book of 1 Peter, chapter 1. The book of 1 Peter, the book of 1 Peter, chapter 2 and verse 9. But ye are a chosen generation.
We are what?
A chosen generation.
A chosen generation. This generation right here is definitely chosen to do this work for the Most High. It's chosen. He have woken up so many brothers and sisters.
That's right.
Read on out.
A royal priesthood.
A what?
A royal priesthood.
We a royal priesthood, man. We not just know anybody's. A royal priesthood. Give me Acts 1 and 6. Read.
A holy nation.
A holy nation. That's out of the old. That's out of the new. That's out the mouth of two witnesses right there. Read on.
A peculiar people.
A peculiar people. We different. We strange to these other people. When we doing what we supposed to do, we strange to them. We peculiar to them. We different. Read on.
That ye should show forth the praises of him who had called you out of the darkness into his marvelous light.
Matter of fact, give me Judges 5 and 11. Give me Deuteronomy 10 and 12. So what we supposed to be doing, people, is showing the praises of the Most High, who brought us out of darkness. When you see brothers standing on them street corners teaching this word, that is showing the glory of the Most High God. Because all the world, even our own people, thought that these brothers couldn't stand up and change their ways from the world to being holy for the Most High.
You know how when we out there teaching and we run into the brothers, like you said, and they said that they kings, but if you're a king, a king or a queen, it should be some type of evidence of, you know, your priesthood or whatever. It should be some type of evidence that you're a king or a queen. But when we see these brothers and sisters out here that's claiming this, there is no evidence. You know what I mean? They bust it down. They're at the base of society. You know, they walking on the bus, begging, selling loosey cigarettes and so on and so on. But you hollering you a king.
That's right.
That's all.
But we sitting up here trying to show you that you're a king.
That's right.
The Bible say prove all things. We going from the Bible to show you that you are a nation of priests, a holy nation, a nation of kings and princesses. We can go to our book to prove that matter.
That's right.
We got evidence to show that. And we also have the requirements of being that. You're not just that just because you say that. There's reasons why you be that. And the Most High told us that if we obeyed his voice and kept his covenant, we will be that. And when you come back into this nation, we got requirements that we have to do. Read that out.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 10 and verse 12. And now Israel, what doeth the Lord thy God require of thee? But to fear the Lord thy God.
So first you got to fear the Most High God. You got to fear the Most High God and his judgments. You got to fear that the Most High God will go through with what he said he would go through with. Because fear is the beginning of wisdom. Fear is the beginning of a lot of things dealing with the Most High God. But you fear him like a good father. You don't just be scared of him. You fear him like a good father that would discipline you for doing wrong to try to get you corrected. He ain't just, a good father don't just discipline you just to discipline you. He disciplines you to try to make you better, to try to save your life, to try to not let you die. That's why he disciplining us. Read on out.
To walk in all his ways.
No, some of his ways.
To walk in all his ways.
We have to walk in all his ways. We can't stray off course. We can't go and try to do what we want to do, how we want to do it.
That's right.
We got to do it how the Father told us to do it. Read on.
And to love him.
And to love him. Give me love, huh? Hold there, give me love.
What you said on
1 John 5 and 3.
Yeah.
So we got to love the Most High God. We're going to get that love for you. We have to love the Most High God. He's giving us instructions as an Israelites of what we're supposed to be doing while we're here. Read on. Read that.
The book of 1 John, chapter 5, verse 3. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments. and his commandments are not grievous.
His commandments are not hard. His commandments are not grievous. So this is we gotta love him, keeping his commandments. Read on up.
For whatsoever is born of God.
That's all
Over.
I want. Give me. I want that over there.
Okay. And to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul.
Oh no, he said to do what?
To love him and to serve the Lord thy God.
To serve the Lord thy God. That is something that our people don't understand. When we doing what we doing, we're serving the Most High God. That's what we're here to do, serve the Most High God. And he telling us how to serve him. Read on.
With all thy heart and with all thy soul.
With all thy mind and with all thy soul, we're supposed to serve him. Read on.
Verse 13. To keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good.
For what?
For thy good.
These things is for our good. For our good. We benefit off of doing these things. He ain't telling us to do it for no reason. It's for our good. And when you do these things, you have the understanding of why he told us to do the commandments. For our good. So that we can be with our brothers and sisters in peace.
That's right.
Read on.
Behold, the heathen and the heaven of heavens, behold, the heaven and the heaven of heavens is the Lord's, thy God. The earth also with all that therein is.
Mm-hmm.
Read on.
Yes, sir.
Verse 15. Only the Lord had a delight in thy fathers to love them.
To do what?
To love them.
Read on.
And he chose their seed after them.
Mm-hmm.
Even you above all people as it is.
Even who up?
Above all people as it is this day.
Even who?
Above.
Go back a little bit.
Okay. And he chose their seed after them. Even you above all people as it is this day.
He chose even you above all the people, as it is this day, Israel. This thing still stands. He chose you. So we have to come back to doing what he chose us to do. Read on, huh?
Circumcise, therefore, the foreskin of your heart.
You need to come back to keeping these laws, statutes, commandments in your mind. Read.
And be no more stiff-necked.
And quit resisting the Holy Ghost. Quit resisting the laws and the power. Read on.
For the Lord your God is God of gods and the Lord of lords, a great God, a mighty and a terrible, which regarded not persons nor taketh reward.
He don't regard not no person, and he ain't taking no. You can't bribe the Most High God. You cannot bribe the Most High God. Ain't no sweet talking you can do to him. You ain't gonna talk your way out of breaking his laws. That he has no respect to person. He gonna keep that thing even across the board. He gonna do unto you as you do unto him. That's why I love him. That's fair right there. That's what you call fair. He don't believe in the unjust balance. You got that judges out? Yes. I'm gonna read this right quick. I'm gonna show you that the Most High is fair. Book of Proverbs, chapter 11 and verse 1. A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. So when he say, he who leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity, he who killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword, then you best to believe it's going to happen. Because he hates an unjust weight. That'll be an unjust weight if they didn't get their just desserts for what they did to us.
That's right.
Read that out.
This is the book of Judges, chapter 5, verse 11.
Mm-hmm.
They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing water, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord.
What they gonna do, huh?
Rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord.
The places of drawing water is a synonym for slavery. While we in slavery, and we wake up to this truth, we rehearsing the righteous acts. Because we understand Not every single law can we keep due to the fact that we are in a heathen nation. So we have to rehearse the righteous acts and keep the laws to the best of our ability. That's why he gave us grace. So we can rehearse the righteous acts. You can't say, oh, I can't keep the law, so I'm just not going to do it like the Christians do. Everybody falls short. Everybody falls short. So you ain't going to keep trying? That's it. That's it. I can't do it, so I ain't going to try. Come on, man. That is weak.
Ain't nobody perfect.
Ain't nobody perfect. You ain't going to try. Even though Christ said, be ye perfect, even as your Father which is heaven is perfect.
That's right.
But they love Christ. But you sure ain't listen to him. But we strive for perfection according to the Most High.
That's right.
He going to ultimately make us perfect to how he wants us to be. But we have to show him that we are willing and able to accept that. When he gives us give us everlasting life, immortal bodies, then we'll be perfect according to how he wants us to be. So while we in these fleshly bodies, we have to show him that we are worthy of that reward that he wants to give us. He ain't finna put nobody who don't want to serve him as though, why he gonna let you live forever if you don't want to serve him in this short period of time that you're here?
That's right.
You're gonna want to rebel against him. No, we ain't doing all that.
That makes no sense.
That makes no sense.
No sense.
Because our people don't understand the concept of a kingdom. The king is not finna let no evil servants into the kingdom. He want to have righteous servants in the kingdom. He want to have people that he can trust, that he know is going to ride for him. So in these earthly bodies, when we show him that we going to ride for him, then he going to reward us with immortality, and he's going to ride for him forever.
Yeah.
Can I give an example right quick? I want to give an example of that right quick because, like, when we was in school back in the day, you had your normal classes, the kids that went in the normal classes, but you also had kids that were, I would just say they had some problems and they had to be dealt with. So the way they were dealt with, they had an alternative school called Metro.
Right, right.
Those kids who didn't follow the rules that the administration put in place, they weren't able to come into the school. They had to go to Metro. And that's just how it's going to be in the kingdom. If you're not keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, you ain't going to be able to get into the kingdom. They're going to send you to Metro.
They going to send
lake of fire. To the lake of fire. That's the spiritual Metro. You ain't getting in. You know, and I just want to bring that in because I thought about that example right there because you had kids who were in school that they wanted to hang around us and stuff, but because they were bad, when judgment came, they couldn't come to school. They had to be bused off somewhere else.
That's right. Because you don't want to follow the rules. Same thing here. You don't want to follow the rules, you're going to Metro. Well, we try not to go to Metro. Give me that 1 Corinthians chapter 6. Yeah, I ain't trying to get that lake of fire, man.
Not that lake of fire. The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 1.
Now, we rehearsing the righteous acts because we preparing for something. We the priests, the kingdom of priests, a holy nation. That means we have a job that we're supposed to be doing here. And now we have to reboot ourselves to get prepared to do that job again. Read that out.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 1. Dare any of you, having a matter against another, go to law before the unjust and not before the saints.
So you want to have a matter with your brothers? But you want to go to the unjust to figure that thing out and not with the saints? Read on now.
Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world?
They going to do what?
That the saints shall judge the world.
Read on.
And if the world shall be judged by you, are ye unworthy to judge the smallest matters?
If you can't handle the smallest matters within the nation, like our people say, you can't judge me. Not knowing that we going to be the judges. Give me Romans 15 and 24. They don't understand that we going to be the judges of the world. And they don't want us to judge. You can't judge me. So if we can't judge the smallest matter, how can we judge the world?
That's right.
Right, and that's even amongst Israel too. If we let something get so out of hand that we can't deal with this thing, then how can we judge the world? We got to handle these small matters amongst us, sort them things out. so we can be on the same page. So when it's time for us to judge the world, we can do that thing. Read on, huh?
He said 24.
Yeah, hold on. Read on.
Know ye not that we shall judge angels?
Do you not know that we gonna judge angels? How can we judge angels if I can't judge you? Read on.
How much more things that pertain to this life? Even then, ye have judgments of things pertaining to this life. Set them to judge who are least esteemed in the church.
So we'll let the people that's least esteemed in the church judge them the things of this life. We gonna judge the spiritual thing. We judge the spiritual matters. We not judging you on your outer appearance. We judging you on spiritual matters according to the law. So that's why we have to get right. We can't judge. It say judge. We can't judge unless we have our stuff together. We cannot do it. So that's what we in the process of doing. That's why it's paramount that we get right first as a nation. Because the book of Matthew chapter 7, verse 1 says, judge not that ye be not judged. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what measure ye meet, it shall be measured to you again. So we understand this. We can't go out judging our people if we ain't got our stuff together. And we sure can go judge the world if as a nation of people we don't have our stuff together. They not going to listen to us. But when we got our stuff together as a nation, when it comes down to put that judgment, it's going to be that punishment that go along with it too.
Yeah.
But we have to be straight first. Give me that Romans out. Let's show you who the saints are. Give me Psalms 149. No, 148. It's like
It's the book of Romans, chapter 15, verse 24. Whensoever I take my journey into Spain, I will come to you, for I trust to see you in my journey, and to be brought on my way. Thitherward by you, if first I be somewhat filled with your company.
Read on.
But now I go unto Jerusalem to minister unto the saints.
To minister to who?
To the saints.
To who?
To the saints.
So he said, I'll go to Jerusalem to minister to the saints. Who was in Jerusalem? The Jews, the Israelites. The Jews, the Israelites. We are the saints of the world. We are the saints. We are the ones that has to keep God's laws, statutes, and commandments. Read that out. Let's get another precept to go with that.
The book of Psalms, chapter 148 and verse 14. He also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel.
Even of who?
The children of Israel.
Children of Israel, you are the saints. We have to get our stuff together so that we can judge the world. We have a big responsibility that we have to do.
That's right.
We have to be the servants of the Most High and put it on everybody else. And not only that, give me Matthew 10 and 5. Just going back into the rebirth for the nation. We have orders on how we go about doing this. But first, we have to get the nation in order first. So, according to Christ, he told us to go to a certain people. According to Christianity, he came for everybody. But we're going to listen to what the Hamashiach told us to do. Read that out.
The book of Matthew, chapter 10 and verse 5. These 12 Yahushua sent forth and commanded them.
And did what?
Commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles.
Go not into the way of the Gentiles, the heathens, but what?
And into any city of the Samaritans.
Don't go into the Samaritans.
Enter ye not, but go rather to the law.
Hold on. He said, enter ye not to those heathens. This is Christ.
That's right.
He said, don't go into the way of the Gentiles. Enter ye not. But who he said to go to, huh?
Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans. Salakia. Enter ye not. Verse 6. But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Go where out?
To the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Read on.
And as ye go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
He told us to go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel and preach to them that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. This is part of our instructions that we have to do. So when you see the Israelites out on the block, that is what we're doing. Let's show you who the lost sheep of Israel are. If you don't understand about why he say sheep, read that out.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 17.
Uh-huh.
Israel is a scattered sheep.
Israel is a what?
Scattered sheep.
A scattered sheep. Because we got people over here, oh, I'm an African American. Oh, I'm an Asiatic black man. Oh, I'm a 5%er. Oh, I'm a Nation of Islam. Oh, I'm a Christian. Oh, I'm a Baptist. That is a scattered sheep. We should be saying with one voice who we are. We are the Israelites. We are the Israelites. But instead, we are a scattered sheep. That's why he commanded us to go out to them. Give me Matthew 22 and 8. We just doing what we commanded to do. To have a rebirth of a nation. This is instructions on what he told us to do, man. And our people need to recognize that. He ain't seeing anybody out here to do that. Read that out.
The book of Matthew, chapter 22 and verse 8. Then said he to his servants, the wedding is ready, but they which were bidden were not worthy. Verse 9. Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage.
Do what?
As many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage.
So he told us to go to the highways and byways. And as many as we shall find, bid to the marriage. Give me Isaiah 58 and 1, Read on,
So those servants went out into the highways and gathered together all as many as they found, both bad and good.
And that's what we doing, man. We have to go to the highways and byways to do that. We're trying to bid our people to the marriage. Give me Revelations 19 and 7. We have to bid our people back to the marriage so we can build this nation. I'm going to keep saying it. We have to make them rethink themselves. Remember who they are and come back to their God in the way that he told us to do. Not in the way that we feel, in the way that he told us to do. Read that out.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 58, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Cry out loud.
What the Bible say?
Cry out loud.
So he telling us that when we go out to them highways and byways, cry aloud. Read on.
Spare not.
Don't spare nobody feelings. Read.
Lift up thy voice like a trumpet.
He told us to lift up our voice like a trumpet. Speak like men. We got to have that microphone. Speak loud into the four corners of the wind so that everybody can hear us. Read up.
And show my people their transgression.
He told us to show his people their transgressions. Show them where they sinning at. Correct them. Because that's Leviticus 19 and 17. Matter of fact, hold that right there. You know what I want. Let's show you that it's biblical. Because our people don't know what love is. They think we just yelling at somebody. That's not the case. Read on,
And the house of Jacob their sins.
We have to show our people their sins. How else is they going to know that they were sinning against the Most High God? What Paul said, if it wasn't for the law, he would not have known sin. So if it wasn't for us trying to point out to our people that they breaking the law, they not knowing that they in sin. Before I came into the truth, I didn't know I was really sinning. I didn't know sin was real. We just thinking we living. We living in this American bubble, and we think we just trying to make it through life. The whole time we sinning against the Most High God. Read that out. Show them that we showing what the Bible. Show them that we doing what the Bible told us to do.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt not in any wise rebuke thy neighbor.
We should do what?
Thou shalt in any ways rebuke thy neighbor.
We have to rebuke our neighbor. Read on.
And not suffer sin upon him.
Because we not trying to suffer sin upon our people, man. And if we went to Ezekiel chapter 33, it'll go in more in depth. That the Lord don't want to see the wicked perish. So it's up to the righteous, the ones that's doing his will, to show the ones that's not doing his will that you going off. Oh, it's the blood gonna be on our hands because we know better. Matter of fact, for the finish reading that out. Get that right quick. book of Ezekiel, chapter 33 and verse 11. I'm going to read that right quick. Say unto them, as I live, saith the Lord, I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but that the wicked turn from his ways and live. Turn ye from your evil ways, for why will ye die, O house of Israel? Therefore, thou son of man, say unto the children of thy people, the righteousness of the righteous shall not deliver him in the day of his transgressions. As for the wickedness of the wicked, he shall not fall thereby in the day that he turneth from his wickedness. Neither shall the righteous be able to live for his righteousness in the day that he sinneth. When I shall say to the righteous that he shall surely live, if he trust to his own righteousness and commit iniquity, all his righteousness shall not be remembered. But for his iniquity that he has committed, he shall die for it. Again, when I say unto the wicked that thou shalt surely die if he turn from his sins and do that which is lawful and right. And verse 15, if the wicked restore the pledge, give again that he had robbed, walk in the statutes of life without committing iniquity, he shall surely live and shall not die. So he telling us that if you walking in this truth and you turn from it, all the righteousness that you did is not going to save you once you turn from this truth. But if you wicked, and you've been wicked, and you restore the pledge, and give back what you stole, or repent for the things that you've done, and come back to doing the Lord's will, that you will live. And this is what we're trying to tell our people. Yeah, all the sin that you did, the Most High will forgive you for that, because he don't want to see none of us perish. But you have to come back to him. That's what we out here showing our people. It is not too late for us to change. It's not. Give me Revelations 19. Give me Revelations 22 and 14.
The book of Revelation, chapter 19 and verse 7. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife had made herself ready.
The wife is Israel. We are trying to get the wife ready for the marriage to the king. That's what all this is about.
Yeah.
This is what all this is about. Getting the nation ready to get married to the king, to the Lamb. So we have to get ourselves back pure. Right now, our nation as a whole is a filthy whore. But we trying to become that delicate woman again that the Most High had made us to be. Read on up.
Oh, I'm sorry. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. For the fine linen is the righteousness of saints.
It's the what?
It's the righteousness of saints.
Let's get the righteousness. Give me Deuteronomy 6 and 25. Because that's when we have to be righteous towards the Most High, to get those fine linens, to be clean and white.
That's right. Got to be clean and white.
You have to be righteous towards the Most High. You have to be right,
right.
Faithful. Don't everybody want a faithful, righteous woman?
Yes.
We don't want no whore. The Most High don't want his son to have no whore.
Yeah, that's right.
Our people think they doing something. Read that up. Give them what righteousness is.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22, verse 5. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man.
Salakia, give me 6 and 25. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6 and verse 25.
Chapter 6.
Because this is the righteousness of the saints, is the clean and white. Fine, arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. For fine linen is the righteousness of the saint. We trying to get clothed in fine linen. Let's see how we get clothed in fine linen. Read that out.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 25. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before the Lord our God.
So we have to do his laws, statutes, and commandments to put on that fine linen. And if we doing it as a whole nation, that whole nation is considered a righteous woman. That's what we working on, so that we can take the kingdom, so that we can get into the kingdom. That's what our whole thing is, trying to get into the kingdom as a nation. Give me that Revelation 22 and 14. And you give me Revelations 21 and 12.
This is the book of Revelations, chapter 22, verse 14.
Mm-hmm.
Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city.
Blessed are they that do his commandments, because that's how you going to get into the gates into the city. Clothed in that fine linen.
That's right.
Clothed in that fine linen. You ain't getting in there unless you clothed in that fine linen. And just to top it off, let's show them who the gates is for, man. It's only for one nation. It's not no one gate into the kingdom. These gates that's to the kingdom is only for one nation. That's why we have to wake our people up, get them back to the marriage so they'll be able to have that chance to get into the gates. Matter of fact, before you read that out, I'm finna read this. The book of Matthew, chapter 7 and verse 14. Yeah, right. Read 13 now. Matthew chapter 7, verse 13.
7 to 13. The book of Matthew.
You give me Revelations 21 and 20. Read that.
The book of Matthew, chapter 7 and verse 13. Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction.
That leadeth where?
That leadeth to destruction.
So wide is the way that leadeth to destruction. You got everything going on in this world that leads you to destruction. It's only one way to get through that gate. One way. Everything else that's going on in the world is that broad way that's going to lead you to destruction.
That's right.
Read on.
And many there be which go in thereat.
It's many that's going to go in through that way. And we know that if the way that the people is doing it right now, Christianity was the way, they already a lie. Because it's too many of them that's Christian.
That's right.
It's only a small amount that's Israelites. So if that was the way, they making the scriptures a lie.
Yeah, that's right.
Because if being a Christian was the way, then why would it say broad is the way that leadeth to destruction? And many, because look how many denominations of Christianity it is. So which one is it? Which one the way? That's confusion. Read on up.
Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life. And few there be that find it.
Now, give me Sirach 17:11 again. Let's go and connect some dots. Because he say, because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth to life. Read that out.
The book of Sirach, chapter 17 and verse 11. Beside this, he gave them knowledge and the law of life for a heritage.
Our heritage is the law of life.
That's right.
That narrow way which leadeth to life is our heritage. It's only a select people that got that heritage. This is what these people don't understand. Precept upon precept, it'll let you know what it's talking about. We have the heritage of life. That's the narrow way to get into the kingdom. That's why he say, blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city. You're not getting into them gates unless you're keeping these commandments, unless you're keeping that law of life, unless you're doing the heritage of a Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
Read that out. We're going to end it with this last precept.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 21, verse 12. And had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates.
How many gates?
12 gates.
How many gates?
12 gates. And at the gates, 12 angels.
Those 12 angels there, you ain't clothed in that white linen. You ain't got that penny into the kingdom. You ain't getting in. Say for instance, somebody tried to sneak in. They got some white linens from somewhere. You know, Chinese or bootleg, anything. Oh, they got them white linens. I got them over here for cheaper. And they hijacked them with white linen, right? You still got to have that penny to get into the kingdom.
That's right.
Oh, that angel finna chop your head off.
Right there.
Right there. Ain't playing no game. Read on.
and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel.
What's the names written there on up?
The 12 tribes of Israel.
So it's paramount that you know what your heritage is. It's paramount that we rebuild this nation, because those 12 tribes of the children of Israel make up the nation of Israel.
That's right.
So it's paramount for our people to get into the gates that they have to know who they are. They have to know what they have to do to get into the gates. So therefore, they have to have somebody lead them towards that narrow way. And if somebody's straying off that narrow way, they straying off teaching these laws, statutes, commandments, or doing these laws, statutes, commandments, they off. We have to do it according to how the Most High lined that thing up. And if you don't do it like that, you're going off. So with that, we want to say shalom. We want to thank you for all the support that we get, the GoFundMe, PayPals, anything that you can do for us, family. It goes towards us pushing this word, being on our mission for the Most High, for our people. And we give all praise to the Most High God in the name of His Son, Yahushua. And we say hallelujah.
Hallelujah.